Welcome to the next lesson. So in this lesson, I'm going to be showing you how you can create a progressive walk cycle. So as against the in place walk cycle. So we are going to progress this character manually. So let's show you how to do that. So first of all, what I will do is switch from timeline to dope sheet. Reason why we're doing this, just follow carefully. Okay, I had already done it anyways. So you would switch, if yours is in dope sheet, switch it to action, and you would find that it creates an action here for a walk action. So you just rename it to walk. When you've done that, you click on this button to create a fake user. So when you've created a fake user, so at this pose, let's switch to pose mode. You can switch to pose mode here, or just press Ctrl Tab to switch, Ctrl and your Tab key to switch to pose mode. When you switch to pose mode, select everything. So I only need this pose, so I'll just delete, I'll duplicate this action. Let's duplicate this action. Okay, let's duplicate this action. Let's duplicate it here with 2. All right, I will name this p.walk. So it's titled progressive walk cycle. So I'll delete. So the dope sheet is the same, it's pretty much the same thing as the timeline, but it gives you more control. For example, you can actually isolate a particular control, isolate the keys for the particular control, right? Just select this button to isolate it, so you can actually work on that particular control alone. Okay, so it gives you more control, give you more room, gives you more liberty to do, to edit your keys. So I'll select everything, then I'll select this first one, this first key, Ctrl I to invert selection to select the rest of the keys, then delete it. So I only need this first pose. Okay, I only need this first pose. So one of the things you should consider when creating a progressive walk cycle is the distance between the feet. All right, so you can see the distance between the feet. Even as we're looking at it, this feet is too wide, I would say, because if you're walking progressively, it's not that you don't stretch your feet that wide. So this was just for example, or for learning purposes. But if you want to edit this walk, it's not that as wide as it is in this reference. So when you're walking, if you want to make an example, you could just stand up and walk a distance and see, or record yourself walking. You'll see that the distance between both feet are not as wide as this. So what we'll do now is just adjust this. Then we'll just work with our root bone just to edit it. Exactly. You see the way I'm editing, just move your root bone just to balance the weight out. Just adjust the root bone, which is this bone, this control right here. Let's move it forward just a bit. So I think this distance is okay. All right, so as a beginner, unless you've trained your eyes, give me a minute, this is now going to auto perspective. I don't want that. Save preference. Okay, so one of the things you should understand as a beginner, unless you've succeeded in training your eyes, I used to manually measure the distance between both feet. Okay, so I'll add a cube So switch back to object mode, add a mesh, add cube, add a cube, scale that cube. All right, and now scale it to the y-axis, move it forward, scale this in, so I want to get that distance. So I'm measuring the distance, move this in here a bit. So if I'm looking at it from the side view, so I want to scale it. So do the same thing. So I want to get the distance between both feet. Okay. So when we are creating these poses progressively, we can actually, duplicate or, move this cube to gauge the distance of the feet, because sometimes when you're moving progressively, you tend to move your controls overboard beyond the measurements you initially have. So let's practice that. So we already have our key pose. Remember, like we did in the previous lesson, we'll do the same thing here in this lesson, but this time we are moving our character in front. We are translating our character progressively. Let it walk as it walks, as it steps its feet, it's moving forward. So let's do that right now. So I'll select everything, I'll key that pose. So I'll move to frame 4 like we did initially. Now this time we'll clear this rotation. Okay, so I'll clear this move here. Right, so this time I'm moving my root bone. So I'm looking at it from the side view, so you'd want to make the measurements precise. So I'll move, you can see that, right? So I'll move the character now on the y-axis. Make sure it's precise so you don't end up doing this, because you're looking at it from the side view. So you move it precisely on the y-axis so it moves forward. So I think we should even lock the movement. So we are moving it on the y-axis, so I'll come here and lock this X and Z. So even if wherever I'm moving it, I'm just moving it straight to the y-axis. Okay, mine is not moving on the y though. Okay, yeah, so I'll lock, so that's the X. All right, great. So it's the Z-axis for me. So wherever I'm moving my character, it moves forward. Okay, so you want to lock yours. All right, I'll lock the X and the Y location. Okay, so when I'm moving my character forward, I can now adjust this one. Raise the feet up. Just here like this on top, just you could see the measurement here, just adjust it to that point. Okay, you can still see the measurement. All right, and we'll extend the hand a bit. I think let's finish the legs first, then we'll come to the hands. I think I should just clear out the location and the rotation for this hand. So I'm just pressing Alt R to clear out the rotation. So we'll work on the legs first, then we'll come to the hands secondary. We'll work on the hands next. Okay, so having done that, I would select everything and key that pose. So you now have, if you scrub your timeline right now or your dope sheet, you would find that you're already making a progressive walk right there. All right, so the next thing we're going to do now is is the passing pose. Okay, we'll move our root bone forward on the y-axis. I think maybe I should also unlock the Y location. So we're creating our up pose. So we created oh yeah, I made a mistake there. There's a mistake there, so I'll do that. Select everything on this pose, hit I. So I did not move, so I move on 4 frame interval. So at this point it'll come to 8. At frame 8 we'll create our passing pose. Okay, so first of all we'll switch to object mode and move, let's duplicate this cube and move it forward on the y-axis so we don't mess it up. Okay, so this is one measurement right here, and the next step the feet is going to take to create a full walk is at this point. So you don't want your character or your controls going beyond that measurement. Okay, so we'll do that right now, but first let's create our passing pose. So we'll lift our root bone up, make sure my root bone is selected. Okay, I think I'll just enable this control here, move it forward, as you can see right there, and bring this down. Remember what I told you in the previous lesson, the feet is not as raised as this one, so you bring it down just a bit. Just there. Let's say we'll drop it at the top, on top of this cube. Okay, so we've gotten that. Okay, so if you notice this control here, this is called the leg pull. So just say our character was this bone was like this, so you can actually use this leg pull to adjust, adjust the knees. Okay, so it's actually useful. So take note in case your character's feet is not, or your character's leg is not going as it should go, so you use the leg pull to control that. So look at it from the side view again. So we've created another key pose. So if we move this forward now, you can see that, oh, we even animated our cube. Yeah, it's because auto key is turned on. So if we hover around here and select, when it has turned to plus, we click and drag, we'll create another window, switch from dope sheet to timeline again. So you notice that the auto keying is turned on. That's why it keys anything on the scene. Yeah. So the next key pose we are creating now is the up pose. So we would count 1, 2, 3, 4. So at frame 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. At frame 12, we are creating the up pose. Okay, we'll move our root bone forward again. rotate this. Let's drop it on top of this cube, so it's not really that raised up. So the same thing here is the same thing here, so it's not that raised up in the air. So it creates that. So while the heel is leaving the ground a bit, so let's confirm that so we don't have that pop effect. So I think we should actually rotate this just a bit. So I'm using my foot roll. So all these controls they have names. So if you check here, you would see the name. So if I select this now, it's called C control foot roll. So control underscore foot underscore roll, then cursor. So look at it from the side view again. Select my root bone. You can see it's called root master. Move it up just a bit there. Move it forward. Exactly. So remember in the last one we copied and paste, but in a progressive work cycle there is no copy and paste because you're actually moving it forward. Because right now if I select this, let's add a keyframe. Let's add this keyframe. If I now select this bone, this key, and counts 1 2 3 4 and paste it. Let's say I paste the reverse here, control shift. So you see it goes back to the initial pose. That's this pose. It goes back to this location because it's the key recorded the location, the rotation, and the scale of this location here. This particular control, it recorded it at this point. So if I duplicate it, if I'm creating a work cycle and then duplicate it into this location here, it's not going to work. So it's one of the things you should note when creating a progressive work cycle. Everything is done manually. There is no copy and paste. There is no automation. Though as a bonus, I'm going to show you how you can add an already existing animation to your rig such that you can go online. I'll show you where to get it. Go online, download a particular action or animation you're looking for. I'll show you how to bring it into Blender and add it and just parent it or add it to your animation or to your character, and the character is going to do exactly what the downloaded character is doing. So I'm going to show you that at the end of this particular module. So what is important is we learn these basics, because most times you may not find or you may not see those actions online, or you may want to create a customized animation, so you may not really see it online, so you have to go in and create it manually. So that is why we're getting our hands dirty with the hard part. So let's do the hard part. Once you understand this technique, you can create any animations. I'm telling you, you can create any animation from scratch. So let's finalize and create our final pose here. So one thing I'm going to do now is at frame 16, I'll bring this down a bit, move it forward, bring this here, clear the rotation, drop these feet here. Remember our controls. So you notice it's not working like that, so you have to adjust the root bone to balance the weight of the character. So you notice that it's not really giving us what we are looking for. So you have to balance the weight. So you find that I'm adjusting you find that I'm adjusting these feet or these legs to balance out the one behind it. Exactly. So make no mistake in moving this control behind. So the only thing you're moving right here is this one, so it rotates. Okay, so do not make the mistake of moving it behind. If not, it's going to have this, the feet are going to be sliding. We're going to have these sliding effects that you do not want on your character. So select the root bone again. Somebody's thinking this is complex. Please just follow it carefully. If you have questions, please ask me on the group, on the channel. So select everything and add a keyframe. So you see now we've just created our first walk. So we just created our first walk. This first step we've made. So we have to do it for the other part. Okay, so come count 4 again. That's from 20. Then we create our down pose, but for this leg. Okay, so Alt G to clear that. Select my root bone, move to the side view. You see it there now. We're actually creating our next step. Clear this, select this. So that's it. We've created our down pose. Select everything, add a keyframe. So you can see there. See, if you're actually doing this, I'm really proud of you. Actually, I'm really proud of you. So at frame 24 again, create our passing pose. Okay, I'm really proud of you, because it can be, I know it can be a bit tedious. Okay, so please, the idea is to get it right. Okay, so don't beat yourself if you've not gotten it right at first. It's okay, it's actually fine if you haven't gotten yours. So clear that rotation. And so for some reason my feet tend to pop out of my shoes. So not to worry, I'll fix that much later. So let's not get distracted. So our passing pose. Lift this up, like to have that straight leg, just like we have here, a straight leg for the other feet, the feet that is on the ground, because there's weight on that feet, so it has to be straight, it has to be firm, you know. just the way when you walk, this weight is transferred from one leg to the other as you make a step. Okay, so the next one, select everything, add a keyframe, move to frame 8 and create our next up pose. Yeah, you guessed it right, up pose. So let's duplicate, let's go to object mode, select this cube, duplicate it again to maintain the measurement. Side view, just lifts the character up again right there. Yeah, so I don't know if yours is popping the way mine is doing. The feet are popping out of the shoes, but I'm going to fix that, don't worry. So let's focus. Yeah, we've created our up pose. Let's look at it again. Yes, we've created our up pose. Select everything, add the keyframe by pressing I. So you see, this is sweet, isn't it? So finally, we'll just add the last pose, the last contact pose, and we are done with a full walk cycle, like one walk, a full step, making a full step. All right, so next now is to clear this rotation. Bring this forward to bring our root bone. So you see what I was saying, if you are not careful, you move your leg control beyond where it's supposed to be. So you want to position that there. Use your foot roll to adjust it. So use your root bone now to balance the weight. It's okay to fail and try again. Okay, don't beat yourself up, just follow carefully like I'm doing right here. You'd find that it's pretty easy. It's the easiest way to create a progressive walk cycle, especially if your character is acting, so which is the last part of this course. Character acting, we'll add lip syncs, add the actions to the character. So I think that's pretty much it for the last contact pose. Select everything, add a keyframe. So if we now play this back, let's set this to 30. Yeah, 30. So if we play this now, say 31. So you see we've actually created our first walk cycle, progressive walk cycle. Okay, so quickly let's work on the arms. So select the arms, come here and delete. Select this first key, Ctrl I to invert the selection, press X and I did the keyframe. So at frame 4, you notice that the arms are spread wide open. At frame 4, we'll do the same thing here. Just adjust that a bit, to look at it from different angles. For the chest, we'll adjust the chest to favor just a bit to favor the feet on the ground. Then the hips, adjust the hips to favor the arms that is thrown outside, in front actually. So select everything. I think we'll adjust the arms to bring it forward. So just look at your character from different angles, use your eyes to, using your reference anyways. So select everything, add a keyframe there. So select the arms again as frame 8. You'd find that the arms are at the middle. So they are swinging back, at opposite sides. So this is swinging forward now, the other one is swinging back. So you just adjust it based on your reference here. So for the chest, you just adjust it very subtle. Select everything, add a keyframe. So select the arms again. So at frame 8, 12, yeah, the up pose. So this is swinging forward now. So look at it from the side view. So I'm pressing R twice to actually get a full control of the rotation. So I'll adjust this one back. Okay. So now for this weight, okay, we'll come to the weight later. So for this progressive work cycle, we're going to go in and polish a few things as against the in place work cycle we did initially, because this is going progressively and we want to at least touching on a few details. Don't worry, I won't be too detailed, I won't go too technical on you, so just follow along carefully. So I just select everything, press I to add a keyframe. Raymond is awake. Oh, that's the name of my dog, by the way. His name is Raymond. So apologies if your name is Raymond. I'm sorry. You have a namesake. I'm sorry. I said I'm sorry, by the way. Okay, so the next pose for the arms. So the arms are actually opened a bit more. Take this forward. Bring this back again. This one This guy is opened up. So now start favoring this other feet with the weight of the chest. So remember the initial one, we moved it the other way. So we'll start giving it a bit weight for this one, so it lands before the feet actually makes its down pose. Okay, great. So we'll select, we'll go to frame 20. All right, open the arms again. So you see there's no too much adjustment to make on these arms. So just select everything, add the keyframe, don't forget that. So the next pose now, which is the passing pose, you see that you find that this is coming back now. So okay, select everything, add key pose. I believe by now you've already gotten the hang of this already. So the up pose, so this is swinging back just a bit. This is swinging forward. Select everything, add your key. Alright, so when it's making the next contact now, it's back to this guy. You know what, I can actually copy this one and paste it here, which is this dude here. I'll copy and paste it, so I can do Shift D to copy that key and move it in place here. Okay, so if we play this now, see we've created our pose. So this is a manual version and it can be tedious, especially if you have to do a long version, a long walk from a long distance. All right, so it can be really tedious. Okay, so which is why when you watch an animation, you don't really find a character walking that long distance unless they use the in place walk cycle and then animate the root bone to translate forward. Okay, so this is it. So we are going to look into adding actions and making the character walk within a path, or making the character walk progressively. So I'm going to show you all the techniques you need when it comes to body mechanics for walk cycle and run cycle. So the next lesson we're going to go into the run cycle, but so far this is how you can make your progressive walk cycle, make your character walk forward. You can see it needs a bit of tweak, especially with the arms, but you now get how to do it, so you can just go in and clean it up. But I won't advise that at this beginning stage. The idea is for you to practice this walk cycle till you get it right. I don't want you to go into those deeper level, because if we want to actually really clean lots of these controls out, we'll have to switch from this to the graph editor. So you see that there's a lot of graph right here, and I don't want to introduce you to graph editing just yet, but as long as you're in the community, I'll create more tutorials for the graph editing, so you can actually access those tutorials and edit animations using the graph editor. So it's the same thing as the key sets, as your timeline, as your dope sheet, but this time you're actually animating with the graph, adjusting controls with the graph. I know that it sounds complex, The last time you heard about graph is in secondary school or in high school or in university, or I mean, why are we doing graph right now? So take your time, go, yeah, go easy on it, and you're going to get the whole idea. So this is the body mechanics, and it's one of it is called the walk cycle, and there's a run cycle, and there's a weight lift. So in the next lesson, we are going to go into the run cycle, how you can actually create a run cycle. Okay, so see you in the next class. Bye.